Welcome back to another video from Carl's Cycle Supply. This video is about a brilliant black 61 cubic inch knucklehead that we finished restoring earlier this year. Harley made just over 4,000 OHV models back then, and this is one that we have lovingly brought back to life. This video goes over some of the nuances and specifics of a 1940 and also some of the ups and downs that we faced while getting this 40 EL fixed up and good as new. In addition to tech help and diagrams and old bike info, I'm happy to introduce a fun collaboration with my Italian friend Amir, who does wonderful 3D modeling for old Harleys. He supplied some neat animated CAD files for this video. If you like his work, click the link in the description to go to his YouTube channel and look at all the cool things that he makes. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your guys' support. Here is a awesome 1940 Harley Davidson knucklehead. This is a 61 cubic inch motorcycle, or 1,000 cc's if you're not from America. And it is an awesome bike that we just finished. 40 is a really cool year for a lot of reasons. It's kind of like a transitional year. They were introducing some new features and phasing out other features, and it kind of is its own animal. I love 1940 knuckleheads. So let's talk about some of the first year things. Probably the biggest thing on the engine that they came out with and changed was the heads. The heads are a large port head. They take a larger intake manifold and a bigger carburetor. This makes a big difference. It makes the bike a lot faster and a lot more fun to ride, and it still has the early small flywheels. 40 has two different cam covers. This is the later 40 cam cover. This is die cast, so that actually came out in mid to late 1940. 1940 is also the first year for this style of push rods. It has a much longer clip so that when you take that out, you can pull up the middle cover and you have more room to adjust your push rods. It makes it really handy and really cool. 1940 to 42 still have stainless steel push rod clips, and that's a part that we've had made for us for probably the last 12 or 15 years. So I don't know of anyone else making them, so if you need some, email the shop. The biggest convenience upgrade that Harley came out with in 1940 was coming out with this gas valve. It has a through the tank gas shutoff that controls both tanks rather than having an individual valve on each tank. This is a huge upgrade because the 39 and earlier gas valves, even on their best days, they weep a little bit of gasoline and end up smelling or stinking, and it's just something you got to live with if you have a cool pre-war bike. So this modernized everybody's motorcycles. It made their garage smell less like gas. One of the other cool new features for 40 is the gas tank emblems. These were used from 1940 to 46, and 40 is the only year that they did this little pinstripe on the tank, and it's really artfully done. It's very cool. It has this cool little scallop fish hook on it right here where it changes, and it's just really classy and beautiful. I have an original paint Big Twin flathead tank that I got all the measurements off of, and I'll post some pictures so that you guys can do a good job on your 40s if you're ever restoring them. 40 was also the first year for the half moon floorboards, and I think those were used up until 65 or 66. They're wider than the earlier boards, so they're more comfortable that way, but they feel a little bit shorter. But they're cool. They're comfortable. They still hinge like the earlier ones. It's kind of a cool upgrade. The other new latest and greatest thing that came out in 40 was this toolbox. It's really neat because it's teardrop shaped. It's shorter. It has this nice taper where it's smaller back here and wider up in the front. And this is just a much better design than the rectangular toolbox. Rectangular toolboxes are very rare and very expensive, and the reason they're rare is because they broke all the time. So I have a NOS lid in the shop that's wrapped up in the Harley paper, and it's cracked before it was ever even put on a bike. So these are very tough. They last forever. It's a good improvement. So with the new toolbox, they had to modify the toolbox bracket, and there's actually a little piece that's riveted onto this welded on strap, and believe it or not, there's actually 3 different versions of this toolbox strap. The early ones, they use the same strap that they were using for 36 to 39, and it still had a 1/2 inch hole down here. And then mid ones, it's perfectly flat down here, no holes. And then it just has a riveted on piece. And then I think that they must have had some problems with those breaking, so they started putting a reinforcement on the backside on the very last ones. And that seemed to help, but starting in 41, the toolbox brackets held on with screws and a spacer. So this is the first year of non-stepped hubs, so they're still sweated and brazed construction, but they don't have the little step on the brake flange anymore. It's the last year of this style muffler. In 41 they came out with a larger diameter one. It's the last year of this CT where it has the grease zerk on top, and it is the last year of the S brake handle and the last year of the front brake cable adjuster that wraps on the outer cable itself. This is a nice bike. It's going to New Mexico. It's converted to 12 volt. It has a belt drive. These are nice rider upgrades, and it's a really happy 61-inch knucklehead. When we first started it up, everything worked really good. We had a couple oil leaks that we had to solve, and we've only got 15 miles on it, but we did the first oil change, we did the head bolts and cylinder bases. 40 still has the swept forward fork. It's the last year of that. Another cool thing that came out in 40 was the introduction of 16-inch rims. This bike has 18-inch wheels, that's what the owner wanted. And you could get both in 1940, but the whole world of styling was kind of moving to like a chunkier, wider, beefier balloon looking aesthetic. And when you put 16-inch wheels on them, they aren't necessarily taller, but there's more contact on the road. And a lot of people said that putting the 16s on would cause the bike to have a speed wobble. And I've ridden some really nice original paint ones with 16s, and I haven't experienced that. But nonetheless, in 41, they increased the rake of the neck on the frame to 28 degrees to help stabilize out that condition. I think they look better with 18s from the side, but then from the front, I think 16s look better because they fill up the whole fender. 40 also had a cool new transmission case. They introduced putting a boss in the casting for the vent, and in late 39 they would just counterbore, spot face, drill and tap the case, and then put the nut into it. So this is something that came out in 1940. 40 is also the only year I know of where 40 was stamped into the back of the adjuster boss on the transmission. This is a really nice bike. It's got the right cloth-coated wiring, the copper flag terminals. It even has the right 38 to 47 oil sending terminal. Okay, here is the left side of this 1940 knucklehead that we've been talking about. And this is a beautiful motorcycle. And 40 is very rare. They're very hard to find. They made quite a few of them. But the reason they're hard to find is because they had a very low survival rate, and a lot of them got damaged or broken or blown up when there wasn't anybody that could fix them. In 1940, Harley changed the patterns of their case castings, and they got rid of the internal baffle plates, and they also made it really thin up in here. It's very common for 1940 to crack from here all the way up through here. And it's hard to find somebody that can weld aluminum now. Back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, I think it was probably even harder. So there were guys that could gas weld them, and we've had to fix some really poorly repaired ones. It was kind of a design flaw, and it kind of led to a lot of cases breaking and a lot of problems. My wife's 40. That case I bought in 2 pieces and had to weld back together, and it's just very common for you to have issues. This is for 40 and 41. In 42 they started making longer rib cases, and that solved a lot of problems. So this case was broken and expertly repaired, and the welding's impressive, but what is also equally important is the machine work afterwards. You want to make it so that all the flanges and mating surfaces and decks and surfaces are not under any tension when you bolt them together. And you want to make sure that everything's flat and perpendicular and square to one another. It's really challenging to bring stuff like this back from the dead, but it's very satisfying when you do it. So, like I said on the other side, 1940 is the first year for large port heads. It's the first year for the big manifold. This is a 1 year only manifold, and on the bottom it says 428/40 versus the 428/401. And the difference is that the flange where the carburetor bolts is closer to the intake tract, which pulls the carburetor in more. I think that the reason it's shorter is because of the 6-inch air cleaner, which is a smaller diameter. In 41, they came out with a larger diameter air cleaner and they had to extend the manifold to give it room. 40 is the last year of the narrow clutch. It is the first year of this oil tank with the reverse lip top. This is all fusion welded around the perimeter, and it's really a cool setup. Probably the best upgrade in 40 is they got rid of that godforsaken 39 transmission and went back to the synchro mesh tranny that was in a 36 or 37, and it's the same design as what they used all the way up until the 70s. Nobody really has a clear answer as to why they did that. It was kind of a strange experiment. They made it a sliding gear transmission rather than having shift dogs that move. They're okay, but they're not as good as these, so I'm glad they only did it for 1 year. It's so much fun when you get to do them to this level and make everything as good as you possibly can, and still set it up to use and ride and have fun with, so I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I love 40 knuckleheads. We did a video on my dad's blue and orange one. If you want to learn more about it, we'll put the link in the comments, and that one's really in-depth, so.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in to the next episode where we'll be going over beautiful restorations and motorcycling adventures here at Carl's Cycle Supply.